Hello everyone, welcome back to another Fallout 76 walkthrough, and in this video we're going to go over the new event called Campfire Tales. Let's go! There is a new event in game since the release of patch 9 2 days ago, and it's not so easy to find. So yesterday I did over 20 server jumps, and then I finally was able to first do it, and I was a bit confused at first because they had talked about an interactive event and so on, but this is basically sitting listening to an NPC telling a story and then doing a few tasks, and that's it. Anyway, once you find it, you should be here in this part of the map. It's called Campfire Tales and it's located at Camp Adams, so you should go there. Once you fast travel and approach the scout leader Peggy, the event should pretty much progress, but be aware that the servers are very laggy lately, so it might take a bit for her to spawn, which was also my case. I just sit here and wait for her to, load. And when that happens, the mission will progress. She will start telling the first part of the story, and you pretty much have to stand by and listen to it until she gives you the first task. Now, something that you really need to know about this event is that you can easily fail it in the next steps. So when you have to pick up wood for the fire, it's a bit tricky, and if you don't do it properly, you can easily fail the event. So let's try not to get that result.
My heart is pounding, but I know I have to go outside and look for everybody.
As I just mentioned, most of this event is just standing by and listening to the stories that Peggy has to tell us. And that's totally okay. It's something different, and it's totally matching the Pioneer Scouts lore, I would say. And the first task that she asks us is to destroy the shadows, and they would spawn as in posters across the camp. They can be very slowly at spawning, and they look like this. They're black posters, and they will have the quest mark on them. So if you feel lost, just look around and you will eventually see the marks, and then you just have to head there and kill them. There are always 5 shadow posters per event, so keep that in mind. And now it's time to listen to the second part of the campfire tale and wait for a Penny to give us a new task. Yes, it's Penny. I know I said Peggy before, but that was my bad. She is Penny. Yes, Penny. Tell me what to do next. That sounds a bit disturbing, but let's move on. So as a second task, you will have to do something that is not that difficult. So basically you have to go by the campfire, and then you have to either do an emote, eat, drink, or simply span one of the 3 or all at once if you can. It doesn't really matter what you choose, so you have a bit of freedom in this task. The easiest way is to simply spam emotes. That way you don't have to waste your precious water and food, especially if you are full. And that's about it. So now we listen to Penny's third part of the tale, and make sure to deal with all these annoying bugs because they will keep spawning across the entire event. They are very low level, they hardly do any damage, they just tickle you. But, they can still damage your armor and so on, so better take care of them as soon as possible. And now she is asking us for some campfire wood, but don't make the mistake I did in the first try. You don't need the normal logs, so don't pick them up. I mean, you can if you need them for cooking, But what we need here is dry kindling, and you can find them around trees that are very near to the camp. Now, at first I thought that the spawns were very random, but after doing this several times, I think there are some fixed spawns, and this tree is one of them. So I have checked all the trees around the camp several times, and as you will be able to see, most of the times there is nothing around the trees. And now I remember when I did the event with multiple people, we were 5 or 6, things went very, very quickly. So people found dry kindling very fast. And when I'm soloing or doing this with another person, which is this case, some other guy joined me meanwhile, and we couldn't find any dry kindling, so it took us forever to do this part. He was searching, I was searching, and honestly I couldn't find much. But at the very end of this part, I kind of understood that there are 3 main trees that spawn the dry kindling, and once you pick it up they have a chance to spawn it again. So mostly what you have to do is check the fixed spawns over and over until they spawn it back. So this is the second tree, and there are at least 2 fixed trees on the left side where I am right now, and 1 on the right side. So the good thing here is that whenever you find a spawn, it's 3 pieces right away, and that's really nice. I'm going towards the right tree that I found, this one. And then since I needed like 1 more, I decided to check the other 2 trees that I got dry kindling from. And I found a new spawn in one of them. So I somewhat have it confirmed that these are fixed spawns. And the right tree, I found it with wood in previous events, in other tries. So I also know that that one spawns the wood all the time. After this, just listen to Penny one more time and wait for the next task. It will be also a quite tricky one. Not in terms of difficulty, but because the spawn rates are also a bit questionable and it can be a bit time consuming. She will ask you to retrieve lost items across the camp. And the spawn rate is quite slow, especially when you are again soloing or doing it with very few people. And you need to go very close to the items for them to normally display the yellow marking. So the first item I found wasn't even displaying the marking from afar, and even when I got close it didn't. So as you can see, it took its time to show. Then I suspect that the items spawn in an order, like the first item spawns, and once you pick it up, only then the second item will spawn and so on. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's just the system like telling you, hey, you need to find the items on your own, and we are adding the marks a bit later in case you can see them. Maybe that's the case. But you should check and check again every cabin, because you will probably miss the items sometimes, and we need 5 of them, just like the destroying shadows part at the very beginning. So just keep in mind that spawning rates are very buggy, it seems like. Unless there is some rule that scales with the amount of participants, that could also make sense, but I'm not sure which one it is right now. Probably just the first. But yeah, here is the last item, and once again, the marking only showed when I approached it very closely. And it's time for the 5th and last part of the Campfire Tale. And now I had two different versions of the event. You either will get waves of bugs, or you will get the legendary boss Nia, which is quite low level. But in both scenarios, you need to keep the fire going, and for that, you need to gather even more dry kindling while you are killing everything until the objective is completed. If you don't do this, if the fire dies, then the event will fail. You won't get any rewards and it's a complete waste of time. So make sure to kill Nia if you get it, which is my case right now. When Penny starts screaming, then that's a very clear sign that the boss is coming. If you get the bugs, then it will take longer because there are 3 waves, and you really need to get more fire to keep the camp going. Otherwise, you will fail the event. It happened to me before. We were just killing the bugs, there were so many of them, and then boom, the event just failed because the fire died. So don't let that happen, it's quite frustrating. Also, don't click on the wet kindling. In this phase, they added them to trick you. They look just like dry one, but they're not. So once you click on them, you get no wood and more bugs will spawn. And there is Nia. She is very weak, and I advise you to use a weak weapon as well to give other people a chance to hit her and get her loot as well. Now in here we were only 2 and the guy had already hit her, I think. So my focus here was simply to finish the event. Anyway, you can get some new rewards from this event, such as the S'mores recipe, which is required for several Pioneer Scouts challenges. And you can also access this new currency, which I'm really not sure what it is, but feel free to enlighten me if you know, because that's not my caps. I have around 15k caps right now, not 21k. And that symbol looks like a Pioneer Scout thing, but I'm really not sure what it is. Anyhow, that was in my first attempt and I never got it again, so maybe it was really just a bug, most likely. I am Marta Branco, thank you so much for watching. If you are new around, if you like the content, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you would like to support me, then feel free to do so over my new Patreon page. I am so glad you stayed this long watching the video, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.